Maayong adlaw no? Good day and welcome to the channel. In this video, I'll share some important tips that worked for me when painting water in laminar flow using my most recent painting as visual aid. As you can see here, I've already sketched my composition using burnt sienna and turpentine. Now, burnt sienna because I feel like the warmth of the underpainting can show through the subsequent layers and really does enhance the colors of your painting. As you can see here, we've skipped the painting of the background foliage, and that is simply because I forgot to hit record, so my apologies on this one. But anyway, we'll just zoom in to see how loosely the background is painted because that is very important in achieving visual realism. And if you try to paint details on the background, it will kill the illusion of depth in your painting. And now we've come to the fun part and the most tricky part of this painting, the water. When painting water, you have to consider what's underneath, the tint of the water and the surface movement, and what is above the surface. And I want to point out two key observations that help me understand how to paint water. Now keep in mind that this will only apply to water in laminar flow. The first observation is that if you're looking down at a body of water, the farther you look, the less you can see what's underneath. And the second observation is that the less light a portion of a body of water receives, say for example it is under shade, the more you can see what is underneath. But before we get to that, here you can see me putting highlights on the water, alternating between a number 2 hug brush and a palette knife. This is to vary the texture of my marks. Here, I'm adding highlights to the ripples of the water in the foreground. Now, since these ripples are kind of big, I can imagine them as a group of planes, and I try to imagine which planes will reflect more light. Here, I'm putting some subtle reflections of the background trees. Then, with the color of the sky reflections, I try to break some odd patterns that may have formed. Now, we're getting nearer and nearer to the foreground. So this is now a delicate balance between the surface reflections and some hints of the colors of what's underneath. And we are finally working on the portion of the water which is under shade. And this part will be much easier than the previous one we worked on. You just have to consider what's underneath, which are mostly rocks, and the tint of the water, which in this case is, I think, predominantly burnt sienna. Then after that, I think what I did here was after painting the rocks, I then layered some fragmented sky reflections to indicate ripples of the water. And of course, I will include the sun rays, which in Visayan we call it bidlisiw. By the way, I made a painting last year called bidlisiw, and it was beautiful, at least for me. And of course, the beautiful reflection on the water. Now, this all just adds drama to the whole piece, I think. And by the way, I call this composition the golden reflections. I think we are almost done here, so thank you for watching. My name is Boy Torpulas, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you did, please like and subscribe. Now here's golden reflection. Once again, thanks for watching.